Did you know that more than 1 out of 4 computers in the world are now running Windows 10? By 2020, that number is expected to grow to 3 out of 4, which means over the next few years, most of us will be getting very familiar with Windows 10.
And the good news is, Windows 10 has a reputation for being pretty easy to use. If you have used a previous version of Microsoft Windows, like Windows 7 or Vista or XP, you will probably find it easy to get around in Windows 10.
But just because you can get around in it doesn't mean you know how to really use all the features that Windows 10 has to offer. In this Brain Bites mini course, we're going to take a quick but thorough look at how you can get the most from Windows 10.
Windows 10 came out in 2015 as a replacement for the unpopular Windows 8. Several things about Windows 10 are very different than previous versions, especially this. Microsoft says Windows 10 is the last version of Windows. However, that doesn't mean Windows 10 isn't going to change. Actually, Windows 10 will be frequently updated by Microsoft, with 1 or 2 major updates each year. The updates are designed to improve the functionality of Windows 10, and also keep its security features up to date. While the main features of Windows 10 have stayed mostly the same, these constant updates mean your Windows 10 might look slightly different than the version we're showing in this course, which is based on the mid-2017 version of Windows 10.
In this course, we're going to assume that you already have Windows 10 on your computer and you've probably used it at least a little bit. If so, you're probably used to seeing a screen like this when you turn on or restart your computer. It's called the lock screen, and it's where you log in to your computer. What you actually see on the lock screen depends on a few things. You can customize your lock screen to show things like unread messages or upcoming appointments, and we'll talk about how to do that in another module. But also, the credentials you use to log in here depends on what type of user account you have.
There are 3 types. A local account is what older versions of Windows used to use. This is a username that is just on this computer, and it may or may not have a password. The problem with a local account is if you forget the password, it can be hard to reset. For computers on a business network, you may have a domain account, which connects you to a network server and uses credentials given to you by your IT administrator. If you aren't on a business domain, then Windows 10 recommends using a Microsoft account. In fact, you have to go through some extra steps if you want to use anything besides a Microsoft account. A Microsoft account is a username and password that you use to get into your Windows 10 computer, and you might also use it for other Microsoft services, including Microsoft's Xbox Game Console, mail services like Hotmail.com or Outlook.com, or other Microsoft services such as Skype or OneDrive. It's free, and if you don't have one, Windows 10 will give you a link to create a Microsoft account.
To use some Windows 10 features, including the Windows App Store, OneDrive, and most features of Cortana, you'll have to have a Microsoft account. An additional benefit of using a Microsoft account is that it can sync all your settings, including your mail, calendar, wallpaper, and more, with any other Windows 10 PC you might use.
While we're talking about the different kinds of accounts, let's also point out that there are different versions of Windows 10. The most common ones you'll see are Windows 10 Home, Windows 10 Pro, and Windows 10s. Business computers generally use Windows 10 Pro. Windows 10 Home is similar to Windows 10 Pro, except it is missing some security and management features that home users don't need.
Windows 10s is less common and comes on certain types of laptops. It's a very secure but limited version of Windows 10. With Windows 10s, you can't install new applications except for ones you get from the Windows Store. In our case, we'll press any key and enter our Microsoft account credentials here. And we're in. This is the Windows 10 desktop.
There's a lot to talk about here, so we're going to take a detailed look all around the desktop in our next module.